5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Access Show. I am Jade. Make sure you like this video if you find it enjoyable, and let's get on with a brand new game called Remnant from the Ashes.
I remember stories of the world before the reckoning. A world before the monsters. Nobody knows where the root came from, or why they're after us. But they're there, in the dark. Some of the last humans, with the way they live, are monsters too. The rest of us hold our own, but the root keep coming.
And that is pretty much the background and story of Remnant. It is going to be a co-op survival shooter game, but with a key difference. It's going to be procedurally generated. In a way, it's dynamic, I should say, rather than procedural, with 4 unique worlds that you'll be able to hop between, completing missions and basically going out there and getting certain resources. A little bit more like a Warframe game. Let's take away all the sci-fi aspects and the Ninja Gaiden style stuff and just imagine it with a bit more guns, and I reckon this has got a good shout for that type of description. Now, this actually got announced last year at Gamescom, I do believe. It's made by Gunfire Games, but this is their brand new trailer released a couple days ago, just showing off some environments. You may have heard of Gunfire. They are the developers that worked on the last Darksiders game, which met a little bit of a mixed reception. Many fans really didn't like the new direction they took it, basically a Dark Souls clone without any of the good bits, whereas some people really have enjoyed the Dark Souls last game. It might even be fairly obvious the influences with that post-apocalyptic state of both Darksiders and this new game. It definitely looks like a dark and dingy world filled with atmosphere. You can see these roots, or these little red mushrooms. Basically, this is the source of the evil or the creatures that you're going to be fighting against. So again, it's nice to see a bit of a mix-up. It's not going to be just generic NPC humanoid characters. We're going to be fighting these tentacle treed creatures, and there's all different varieties and types. There's mushroom and fungi style looking ones. The environments do look absolutely amazing. It is coming to Xbox, PS4 and PC at some point this year, and I'm hoping it's going to be a marked improvement on the reception for Darksiders 3. It's been published by Perfect World, who are normally known for their MMOs, big sprawling Asian influenced ones. So again, very good different influences here. I'd like to see what's happening with this one, and I think Gunfire Games, if they get the right balance between grind and having an interesting loot or interesting things to go out there and find, they could be onto a winner. Imagine almost, I guess, a Division, but with a much more supernatural spin on it. This is the vibes I'm getting from Remnant. So it's going to be 4-player co-op. You're going to be able to choose and customise your character to your liking, although there are some presets. I've got a little bit of footage from the live stream they did at PAX East recently, just highlighting 2 of the classes, which look pretty interesting. The combat looks pretty decent. There's room for melee, obviously focusing on guns, and it does have that supernatural element. You will be utilising some of the powers that you're seeing the enemies use in different ways for yourself, whether or not it's imbuing a blade with a special power, or simply being able to use replenishing health orbs that seem to come directly from the same sort of style creatures. There's even a class that lets you summon little minions that will help you against enemies or just be a big distraction. Plenty of cover based opportunities here as well. You're maybe going to have to think strategically about how to take on some of these enemies, and according to the blurb, everything I've been reading, looking up, it is dynamic. You will not have the same playthrough every time. There's 4 different distinct worlds, and you'll be going through all of them, and they'll be changing each time you pick a world to explore. So we have got some footage of the live stream here that they took part in, and just showing the Hunter class and the ex-cultist. But again, I do believe you can modify and change lots of features, including the loadouts and etc. what they're basically going to have in them. Just really interesting, really fresh. Co-op is on the rise again. Maybe it's because we're being geared towards these online games like The Division, like Fallout 76, these big multiplayer games that want you to squad up all the time. Maybe these smaller developers have taken a little bit of that and gone, you know what, it's time. Let's keep pushing this multiplayer aspect. People are getting more and more used to playing with each other, or at least matchmaking with each other. Maybe it's the resurgence of multiplayer games. but without the choresome or bothersome way of always being an online service that so many companies are just failing with. No one's really hit it out of the park. Destiny aren't doing it, and just Division is maybe probably the best version we've seen in a long time. There's definitely been a few more failures though in just the cooperative market. You take a look at the Overkill's Walking Dead, that game only made it to PC and then it got cancelled. Generation Zero has launched okay, but there's again very mixed results with that. Lots of people are liking it, lots of people aren't, saying it's too threadbare, too bare bones. And then in the future we've also got World War Z coming up. That's another cooperative shooter in the same vein where you choose your classes and you go and take a walk around a dilapidated city or world. So from the blurb it really does look like there is 4 unique worlds where you'll be going in and invading and trying to take down these root creatures and gathering resources or information or completing quests, which again is pretty interesting. I don't necessarily think it's a completely open world experience though. It does look like it's a little bit more guided and you're a little kind of funneled through, and it's just the way that it's funneled through changes. So you might come here one playthrough and it will be just this fire demon, and then you'll come here the next playthrough and it may be a bunch of minions, and maybe it won't be just complete subway, maybe it'll be a more stretch of streets. That's what I'm getting from reading all the information. That to me is what all co-op games kind of really need to stop it being stale. I mean, everyone can have fun playing with your friends. You can make even the most crap games, Fallout 76, fun while playing with your friends. But if it's got more challenges in it, if the challenges are mixing up and you're not just exploring the same locations over and over again, I think that gives you more reason to revisit and go and aim to get better loot and better equipment and complete all the challenges or the quests. There is going to be quests in the game, there is going to be NPCs, there'll be hub style cities where you'll go up and you'll power up and level up and maybe customise and create different new weapons, or at least buy new equipment and gear. The game's webpage promises tough as nails bosses, and you're going to have to strategically team up with your teammates to take them down, but you will be able to play this on your own as well. It's not a given that you have to play it with other people, just it's going to make life a little bit easier if you've got friends around you. But it does look at some point it might be an option to really go out there and find your teammates to work with you to take on some of the hardest bosses. Maybe it's going to be a situation where there's like mini raids or just a full raid system. I'm not sure. I desperately want to get more information to you guys though, and that's what I'm going to be doing in the next few months, giving you more information, because this looks pretty tight. It looks pretty good. You're seeing in the background here, I'm guessing one of the boss-like creatures. They look pretty scary, a little bit basic with the UI, but we've got some time before we actually see the finished result. Clearly a huge big health bar, and there is stamina-based movement as well. You can see the blue bar goes down when you're jumping around, so you are going to have to be a little bit careful about how you move around. And obviously you've got your big health bar and your different types of weapons. Here is where we start seeing some of the more supernatural stuff being used. Basically you use this, or it looks like a heart, so I'm guessing it's one of the roots or one of the mushrooms that replenishes your health when you get damaged. And then also in the second part they're going to show you what it's like playing it with the occultist class, and that is where you can summon demons and they will go and help you as well. But you see there the health just replenishing. Typical sort of stuff, a few minions to come and attack you while the big one's doing it. But I like the environmental damage it's doing to the pools of oil. You know, something like that, and it's damaging the buildings around you, so you can't just necessarily cheese it completely. It's definitely got a wide range of attacks as well. Going from this where we're doing quite long range, we're using a sort of rifle, and then just all of a sudden it's right in your face. That is a really cool aspect. I like the AI. I think the AI is pretty decent, the way it's moving around. I just hope they focus a little bit more to make some of the other bits a bit more interesting, like the health bars, just to give it a little bit more of a difference from other games, or just genericism. But yeah, shooting certain body parts, obviously a pretty old trope, but doing more damage, and you can see exactly how much damage you're doing with each weapon. So that makes me think customization for your weapons or finding better guns and loot is going to be really important, because that's why you want to see the damage numbers pop up. You want to know that whatever weapon you've got equipped is doing better damage than the other. Be careful for being burned alive, and you can see that it's all looking pretty good. I think the animations are great. You know, it's not a AAA game, but I consider this pretty decent, and I just really hope it is going to turn out to be something pretty cool. It'd be really interesting. So I really hope they've learned, the developers, Gunfire Games, from the experience with Darksiders, and making sure that the game is out and it's not buggy or has got as many problems and issues as it should have. And, you know, if they've got that side of it, then hopefully this is showing me it's going to be a good game. They did release a game just before Darksiders called Close to the Sun, or The Other Sons I should say, and it was a VR game set in space where you could team up cooperatively. That I suppose is good for VR. I'm not a really big fan of VR games, but looking into the forums and delving into it a little bit, lots of players were unhappy that Gunfire Games kind of abandoned it. It needed lots of bug fixing and issues done and fixing it. They said it would happen, but then Darksiders happened, and then they said they would try to get to it after Darksiders, and now we've got another brand new game on the horizon with no promise of going back to repair or do anything to fix that game. And Darksiders did take a considerable amount of time to get right with the bugs and problems and issues that game had too. So, don't want to be a complete negative Nelly, but I want to temper the hype from seeing something that looks pretty decent with the realistic nature of game development and just their past history. They've released games that just have needed a lot of work, and maybe they might not get another chance. This seems like it's going to be their big opportunity. It's their game, it's not another franchise they're doing the third sequel for, it's not a VR sort of prestige or niche sort of market, it's about making something for them, and it's going to be launching on Xbox, PS4 and PC. So yeah, I really hope they get it right. Just finishing off with some footage of the other character class, the cultist, basically using a small pistol to shoot them. You can see it does a little bit more damage than the other guy's pistol that he was using, and then we should see a little bit more of the minion play in a second, where it's going to call forth the minions, and it's got a decent shotgun, so I quite like that. Give me a shotgun in any game and I am a happy bunny. Maybe not the best time to pull that out there. I have no idea who they're talking to here, if they both work for Gunfire Games or they're just showing it off to someone, but you can see here he's replenishing the health, pretty bog standard stuff, but this is the cool interesting part, sending your minions forth. They look a bit comical, a little bit silly, but I don't mind that. You need a bit of humour sometimes in these games, otherwise it looks challenging, it looks fun, it looks like an exciting, scary, slightly game. I like the look of it, I really do. So definitely going to be giving more information about this. I am Jade PG. I hope you like this access show. I do this on the daily, most days, taking a look at brand new games or giving you information about updates for your favourite games, alongside all my guides and tutorials. So make sure you are got notifications on. Come join my Discord, follow me on Twitter, and check me out on Patreon, support the channel. I'll see you ratbags later.